Let's head right to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
This is Daryl from Dixon. So I was calling in regard to the Todd Monken hiring. I know it's not a flashy young guy, but he's been an offensive coordinator for a long, long time. I kind of feel like he gives us a floor. Our defense is not an issue. Even if we lose Jim Schwartz, we've got a defense loaded with talent. You can probably bring in a fair defensive coordinator, and we're still going to be a top 10. If we keep Schwartz, that's great. Monken, I'm interested to see who he's going to bring in as an OC. Maybe he's going to tap some young mind for fresh ideas and stuff. I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't think it's a knock it out of the park hire, but I don't think it's a catastrophe. If we can get a top 15, top 20 offense with this defense, we can still do some damage.
As always, appreciate all of the voicemails. Let's welcome in Garrett Bush from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, as well as the Barbershop. G. Bush, I don't mind the hire at all. In fact, I like it better than – clearly they weren't sold on the two young guys. So that's – if you're not sold on young guys, don't go down that road.
Yeah, as the more I look at it, when you go through the process, I think sometimes when you start to go through a process of turning around and looking for a head coach, the things that you do is the news cycle goes so fast, and they're always throwing names at you, and they bombard you with a list of names. And if you hear those names and you continually hear those names over and over again, you begin to kind of, gradually walk that way and believe that if you don't get one of those names that people mention, then it's a dumpster fire or it's a bad hire. We've been here enough to know that there's no really such thing as a good splash hire or a bad hire or any type of hire. It's all about what's the best fit for the Cleveland Browns at that moment. And ultimately, he's going to be judged by what he does, not when he takes the mic on the press conference on day one. It's what he actually does on the field and his track record and what wins and losses he puts on the field. So in terms of what his resume is, I think people, if you look at blind resume, not even blind, just take a look at what he's done compared to what some of the young guys have done, it's not even close. Udinski was not even the offensive coordinator calling plays. Shieldhouse never called plays. I think it's a huge jump to put a young guy in a position like this where you have a roster that needs development. You need a roster in terms of a quarterback that needs seasoning. For you to ask those young guys to come in here and be the leader of men one, get accomplished and get accustomed to calling plays or the structure or how the NFL works. These guys have been in the trenches as position coaches. They haven't even been a coordinator yet. So I think it would have been unfair and terrible, unfair expectations to have somebody that young with that lack of experience to come in here to take this job that's going to be under a microscope from day one. So for me, you look at Todd Monken and what he's able to do. 2 national championships at the University of Georgia. He's had from walk-ons there to guys like Carson Beck. It was in the trenches there, won 2 championships there with Kirby Smart. He's also had the ability to run a plethora of different offenses, whether it's RPOs, whether he was at Eastern Michigan or whether he was at LSU or Oklahoma State. He's been at multiple places under multiple different coaches. And then just take a look at what he's done in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson won an MVP, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. You take a look at the vertical passing attack that he was able to bring. And I love what he says. I was watching one of his interviews, and he talked about this as a Ravens new hire, because I wanted to see him at multiple levels. I wanted to see what he was like at Georgia, and I wanted to see what he was before he got right when he was in Baltimore. And the one thing he said is, as a coach, our number one job is to be talent developers. Our job needs to be developing guys. He said, I know whether or not you're developing somebody by one thing. If you get a guy in, you can't recruit people like it's college. We can recruit 25 new guys a year at Georgia. Here, we got a couple of picks, first round, second round, third round. If it happens to be that guy doesn't, turn out to be a home run, you still have to develop him. So what I need to do is develop a game plan around the traits that he's good at and develop him. And at the end of his contract, if he isn't getting offered another contract by another team in free agency, or the team that he's currently on has to make a tough decision about extending him long-term, then that means you failed that player and you did not develop him. And I thought that was very refreshing because a lot of times we start to see where we believe in Cleveland that we got to get a quarterback or we got to find a quarterback. And I always say it, yeah, you got to find one, but you also got to develop one. And they don't grow on trees, or you can't just pull them from somewhere. You need somebody to be in the trenches, roll their sleeves up, and actually go about the business of coaching and developing. And that was the most impressive thing that I had heard in terms of what he was in his philosophical offensive game plan.